All right, ladies and gentlemen, it's time for the Red Rain Podcast, episode 195. Please welcome in your host, the one, the only, Walter Mitchell.
Thank you, Kyle Little Rock Ledbetter, sporting a Florida Marlins hat. And this guy is so diverse. I'm not conjuring up any special connection right now to the Marlins, except records maybe, and bottom feeding, or maybe The Old Man of the Sea by Hemingway with the Marlin, trying to hook the big one. So
I guess the Cardinals were technically in Florida yesterday. Different city, but technically same state.
Tampa, yeah, they're fending off those feisty Cannons, Buccaneers. Yeah, and good weather, really nice weather. And Kyle is fresh back from Chicago, where boy, those Bears really put on a show this weekend, and we've got Bear envy going on here. We, look at what a coaching change and
there it is.
I mean, it's
There
something
it
like
is.
it's crazy. Something like Ben Johnson between last year and this year, his teams with him calling offensive plays was like 25-6. I mean, insane. And of course the Lions aren't playing as nearly as well without him, and the Bears' days of 4-win seasons appear to be gone, and perhaps for a long time. And it's the way that he has that team playing. And one thing that was pointed out during their broadcast, which I thought was really key, was the players citing how physical and tough their training camp was. And
coaching.
Yep, we've been arguing that for a long time. I know, and when a new guy comes to town and he means business, the words and the music match. It's not a cupcake camp where guys are sitting around during preseason games or whatever. This guy came in with a plan, but he was going to instill discipline and toughness from the beginning, and showing up big time. So
came in with a plan, and he came in with an experienced, successful coaching staff.
How about that? Dennis Allen at DC doing a great job.
Tremendous.
What an upgrade. All right. He's got the best of both worlds going there right now. So, but and welcome back 61 Sam, whose Broncos eked out a last-second win against the Commanders yesterday. I was saying before we started taping that, with Sam, his Broncos are finding every way to win close games.
Yeah.
And while the Cardinals are finding every way to lose close games. And we'll have insights on that. But the other thing, of course, the irony is we had Sean Payton in-house for an interview and let him leave. I always thought that was a charade anyway.
Yes.
It's just for looks, because I never thought Goodwill would be a serious player in that. I didn't think he would pay him
$20 million.
Here's the huge difference. You got a Pro Bowl, a Super Bowl winning experienced coach with a high, record of success, calling plays, and on one end, and on our end, we have the most inexperienced coaching staff, and I think overwhelmed coaching staff in the NFL. And despite that, we're playing in close. Virtually 10 of the 12 games have been close, and I think that's commendable. But when it comes down to the difference making between how the teams are coached, particularly down the stretch, there's quite a disparity. And my argument was, I'll just take one of my tweets out, was that it's pretty hard to win games when arguably you have the worst coached 2-minute drill in the NFL on offense and the worst coached passive, soft 2-minute defense in the NFL. If you want to win close games, you can't have either, because you've got to be able to do the right things at the end of games and be out preparing and outsmarting your opponents. So, and yesterday our old friend Todd Bowles was outsmarting Cardinals left and right, and we'll talk about what his impact was in the game. And I was, remarking during the game that, we haven't had a defense, nearly as good as what Todd Bowles gave us his first 2 years in Arizona. I'd never seen a defensive coordinator at halftime make the kind of adjustments he made. He's a crafty, gutsy, but hugely well prepared. He was incredibly well prepared, and I think that was a huge difference in this game. And he told us in his own words afterwards how they knew what on key situations, on fourth down situations, what the Cardinals' play was based on the alignment, and they jumped it on both occasions. So we're going to start jumping right in on the plays. We'll try to go thoroughly but quickly through those, and we've got questions about coaching and the future of the organization coming after. All right, this is so annoying. Right from the start, talk about tackling. Arguably, our best tackler on the season is right in line on this key third down. It's just tackle.
Garrett Williams.
No, it's JT on this one.
Oh.
Although Williams, we'll get to him, boy. Wrap. I mean, you see the ball's coming. It should be a stop right there.
Yeah, he's got the angle on this moment right here.
Right there. Instead of taking him out of the legs, he just, Godwin easily corkscrews right around him. Think of how different this game might have been if on this first possession we get the Bucs off the field. It's just, how does this continue to keep happening? I mean, give Baron Browning hustle credit for making the tackle on that. And we'll give him credit later for making the big tackle on the last drive that gave the Cardinals a chance to win. So he's back from concussion, and he did some good things in this game. All right, so next play. Here's the interception.
Next play, we got the Jacoby interception real quick.
He just forced this throw.
Yeah.
Tad slow, forced it, picked off.
Right.
It was a real momentum killer, too, because they were moving the ball beautifully.
Just on fire. And Marv was out of the gate. Now, we know, even the announcer saying, when's Wilson going to get a shot? Trey was looking good early. I mean, the running back Bam out of the backfield. Everything was clicking. And this is a first down play, I believe. No need.
That was my other question. I couldn't remember if it was first or third down. Because if it's third down, it's not a great play. But if it's first down, there's no point. You just live to fight another down.
Right. And the game ended on this play, too, in major traffic. I mean, he had 3 defenders right around him. It doesn't make sense as to why Jacoby made that throw. And if you were going to get Wilson started, why aren't you running him on some of his patented corner routes and stop and goes? But unfortunately, that killed the momentum. And then we get, the Bucs moving the ball.
This is 3rd and 3.
Yep.
Got good pressure. Baker escapes up the middle, turns it into a 20-yard run until he goes untouched out of bounds.
Yeah.
Broke containment.
Well, no, got to stay in your lanes. Dante Still's really not a good look. And then he quits on the play.
Yep.
I mean, stops running now. Just more bad tackling. I mean, credit Akeem Davis-Gaither for backtracking on a good pursuit angle to force Baker out of bounds. So, but I mean,
and number 50 gets up the middle on this play too.
Yeah.
I mean, it's great pressure,
correct.
but I think better escape from Baker. I mean, that's a really that's like a Lamar Jackson window of escape from Baker, but 50's got to wrap right there and bring him down.
You'd like to see Cody in that situation try to shed his man better. The running back who picked him up. Cody's learning quickly on the job. His first halves tend to be shaky, and he seems to pick up some momentum in second halves. That's been the pattern so far.
Pattern so far is we miss Mac Wilson.
Well, I don't know. I think he's the most overrated player on the team, actually.
Wilson Jr.
PFF grades are bad.
Yeah.
He hasn't been a great, I don't think, as my first article on Red Ring blog was that he's not a Mike.
Right.
And we miss his leadership. We miss his fire. And we miss his blitzing. But for the finer nuances of playing Mike in the NFL, there's a reason why he never played Mike in the NFL before. He's just not the prototype. Now, to his credit, and I and Sam, you're onto something here too, because he actually has exceeded my expectations in pass coverage this year.
Yeah.
I mean, I thought he'd be a huge liability there, but he really stepped up in that role. So yeah, it'll be interesting when he comes back. I think Cody Simon's the future of the position.
No question.
And, he's got the pedigree, and, I think, and he's a better downhill tackler once you get him going. So, and he should be pretty good in coverage, as he really was down the stretch for Ohio State last year. So, but this is unfortunate. We let Baker escape on that. And especially for those kind of chunk yards.
I was trying to watch the play back. Is there like a spy or anything on this play? I don't really see. I mean,
No.
I see Akeem dropping back into coverage, but he's not really a spy. I mean, I can't see.
We're in man coverage where that's where you wished you were playing zone, because there's the routes help vacate the middle and gave Baker Mayfield a wide open space.
Baker's
Which I
pretty
get
savvy
this.
runner.
Yeah.
He saw the opening.
Yep.
Took advantage. Saw they didn't protect their lanes and took advantage.
Right. And he
Willing,
knew,
savvy runner.
He knew it was man to man. So he knew if I squeeze through here, I could be off to the races. And, for a quarterback scramble, how many yards is this? Let's watch it through. Does not speak well to your, so 5, 10, 15, 20.
I think it was 21.
21?
I think it was a 21-yard run.
Wow.
Baker Mayfield?
Baker Mayfield or Lamar Jackson?
Trajectory and compare it to Kyler's.
Another thing here is JT getting locked up on a block there. Way too soon. He's got to chuck that and get upfield. Got to swim through that.
I get they were playing the safeties back a bit because it is 3rd and 3 in a territory where they're probably going to go for it if they don't pick it up. But the man coverage with only a 4-man rush on 3rd down normally would be a cardinal sin. But I guess I understand, it's really 2nd down because they're probably going to go for it.
Yeah, maybe. So now we get the Wirfs TD. They were banking on Gannon and Rouse not electing to cover the reported switch of Wirfs over to eligible receiving tight end. And great play design as a throwback. Great play design. Fake to the right, get everyone moving that way. Clear out the wide receiver underneath. Look at Williams losing leverage there. It just really bugs me. He has really regressed as a player.
Yes.
He's just not playing smart football, fundamental football. And he's been a huge liability in tackling.
This is why you have an all-pro too.
I like how Wirfs sold the play with the chip. And then Baker rolled out the other side and sold it. It was a beautiful play.
Perfectly sold.
Yeah.
Perfectly executed. Too bad Zaven didn't get a hand on it. Otherwise, we were cooked.
And Buddha was floating the other way.
Yeah, Buddha went with flow.
Which, in fairness, the first read is Otten. I mean, Baker's going right there. That's his first read, and they've got it covered the whole way, which it's not easy for a quarterback when you're throwing to a left tackle to just have the instinct to just throw it, when it's not a tight end, it's not a receiver.
Yeah. Everyone on the play took the bait.
Yeah.
But the key thing is, if you're playing man, and they are, why isn't a man assigned to the tight end? No matter who it is. You're just going to concede, it's Wirfs, so we won't cover him?
Let's see. So they rush 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I guess kind of 6. This is more of a run stopping defense. But the fact that you've got safeties and linebackers just kind of in the middle, not covering anyone.
Breakdown.
Yeah.
Hard to get confident in the way the defense is being coached when repeatedly in games, particularly when you're getting in a hole, guys are wide open for touchdowns and easy throws. I don't care who they are. I mean, if you're in a man coverage there, it's one thing if it's zone. But if you're in a man coverage there, how do you neglect? You've got 5 guys to cover, period. There should be 5 assignments. And it appears like the Cardinals weren't even prepared for Wirfs being at tight end. So now we got a 10-0 hole. Next up.
Next up, we've got the Bam Knight fumble going up the middle. Popped it out from behind. Recovered by Smith for the Bucs. I believe it was still 10-0 at that point. So, again, another drive killer.
Those Bucs are well coached for doing stuff like that. And, it just doesn't look like Bam was squeezing the corners.
Yeah, that ball high in his arm.
Right. And he was kind of, there it looks like he is, but credit a perfect poke out. But you have to really squeeze
especially in that traffic.
Through the whole play and just got his hand wrapped around.
It's a shame, too, because other than this fumble, he had a pretty good game.
You know, so he's really been a bright spot, Sam.
Yes.
So shit happens. That was, you know, a clever play. It was a small little window to knock it out, and they got to it. Now this is the Bucky Irving tee.
Yes.
This summarizes the defense for the whole season right here.
Yeah.
This is it.
All right, so 2nd and 5. They're at the 12. Play clock's winding down too. 1 second left. Just get it off.
It right to where our majority of our defenders are. All right, good outside shoulder free by the edge there. Unfortunately, couldn't get to the ball carrier, but
this describes the defense for the whole season. Per gap, discipline, missed tackles, over pursuit.
Right.
The defensive line collapsed way too far inside. He left the lane edge open, and then Zaven just couldn't wrap him up, and Jalen Thompson was late rotating down. There's no second level of support when Bucky broke free. It's a microcosm of the defense all year.
Well, and our cornerbacks have not gotten the memo on, you know what, you have to defend your position and run support.
That too.
Really weak. Really weak. And people know. It's back to the old days of having Pat P on the outside where all the teams ran screens at him all day long and never defended. Our corners are just weak sauce. They don't bring it. We'll get to that. We've got the numbers on that later. All right, so 17-0 hole. But now Brissett and the Cardinals climb out of it. A little bit.
Yeah. Just a little bit.
Well, enough to make it a game. You know, I mean, they needed an answer here, and they got it. And after that first quarter, it was looking pretty bleak. After the first drive, we had a couple 3-and-outs. We had the fumble. We had the 2 turnovers, the whole bit. This was sweet.
2nd down. Edge rush coming. Escape through 2 defenders. Find Bam Knight for the score.
You know, people thought Todd Bowles was crazy during the week saying that Jacoby is sneaky elusive. In this game, he was.
And he needs to be.
He does. And that is one heck of a play.
Yeah.
Look at where Bam starts, too. He's basically on the right side of the field behind the line of scrimmage.
Yep. And
he sees he needs help. He makes a move and gets open and makes a great play.
Highly aware. And that atones for the fumble right there. Talking about wide open receivers created by the quarterback's elusiveness.
And in these situations, sometimes they say run back to the ball, and that's true. But the more apt thing is run into space. Run where there's no defenders.
Get open.
There's a wheel-style angle that he took.
Yep.
And Jacoby recognized it immediately, check down, boom. Great play.
Yeah. Good blocking on the play, too. You know, only 3 sacks this week.
Yep.
Against a Todd Bowles attack style, blitz you, rush you. I think that was kudos to the offensive line and kudos to Jacoby for working the pocket the way he did as often as he had to.
And then we have the next touchdown.
This is a dot. Look at this. Zing. This is a zipper. Right up that seam. Right to where you coach it. Right up those lines. And Trey, just all he needed to do was get past the leverage and up that seam line and golden.
This is a staple of the Brady offense too, which obviously Jacoby spent all those years with McDaniels and Van Pelt, who was with the Browns. And watch snap to throw. So we got 5:02 on the clock. Snap to throw. Ball out, 5 seconds still on the clock. So you've got about 2.5 at most seconds from snap to throw, and you're able to complete a 20-yard pass.
Right. And I would just say that part of the reason why Michael Wilson didn't, go off in this game was the return of Jamel Dean. And notice that they put Dean, their best corner, on Wilson pretty much all day.
It's a nice thing about having great corners.
That's at the top of the screen. This is kind of like the same sort of non-route that Wilson ran at the end of the game of regulation last week. I'm not sure what he's doing. Just jogging that one out. I think he's opening the door for Trey, no doubt. But I think you could get to the 10-yard line and stop now. Turn. If he's cushioning you, make a turn or running out. Get open. He's just.
Are you talking about at the top of this? Are you talking about the top of the screen here or down here?
Top of the screen.
I think that's Weaver up top. I think Wilson's down here.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Oh, okay. Thank you. I appreciate that.
Yeah.
It's hard for me to see the numbers. Oh, here's Wilson. I get
Wilson,
you.
yeah.
And they're playing.
Wilson, I think.
Let's watch him on this play. Let's see what happens.
All right, he kind of disappears a bit, but it's kind of the same thing. He's just going to the back.
He's running a fade, and it was covered well. All right. Thank you for that. Although, again, the receiver to this side in situations like this has got to make a more competitive attempt to get open. All right, next play.
Well, next play is our last play. We've got 4th down, 2 yards. Obviously a long ways to go, but you got to have it. Got to get into field goal range.
Yeah.
Rush 5.
Yeah. Todd Bowles said he knew the play, knew the formation, and it's really kind of sucks when you're in a 2-minute drill and they know your plays, because everything in 2 minutes with Drew Petzing is just a fart in the wind. I mean, all these short dump passes. Kyler was the same way, driving me nuts. Just thought it was, 5-yard pass, 5-yard pass, 5. We're out of timeouts, or maybe we have one timeout left. But look at the clock. It's under a minute. And to this point, we'd taken no shots downfield. I mean, when you see Mahomes and Allen and the guys who are regularly great at this, they don't come out and run a 5-yard pass. Only if the pressure gets to them, they have to check it down. But they have another pass play in mind to get downfield and to get the defense on their heels. Defense is all dug in. There's everything small ball here.
Look at the note right here. 7 for 17 on 4th downs, which now is 7 for 18, which I don't know what the numbers are, but I know the league average is somewhere in the 40% range. And if I'm doing math right, 17 divided by 18 is about 36% or something like that.
Yeah. Yeah, we got to get
also
better.
Dortch is open too. If you're just running the short route, Dortch is open.
Because Dortch was well past the sticks. I thought Jacoby rushed this. Man,
in fairness, I think McMillan is right about here on this play. You can kind of see his shadow drop down, but compared to Wilson, who's covered like white on rice, you're probably better trying it with Dortch on this play.
Right. Well, and here's what Jacoby has to do. He's got to, take the ball in his own hands now. And he's got to do with Michael Wilson, what he did with Michael Wilson, show him tapes of routes that other teams run with their alphas, and this is what we're going to do with you. Here's what Jacoby has to do now. Because for several weeks now, our 2-minute drill was awful. Even in the first half, I was screaming at the TV, wasting all this time, just like at the end of last game, wasting time, calling plays audibly. Those plays should already be set. Fortunately, we were able to, kick a field goal there at the end. But of the first half, but it was sluggish. It just, a lot of wasted time, poor clock management. Again, but fortunately, they got to the ball and were able to spike it with 2 seconds left. But that was awkward, and we got away with it, at least for a field goal. I think we could have gotten more out of it if we were, a little more aggressive and quicker back to the ball to get it going for the next play. But, like last week, we have we're in a 2-minute drill because we have to either tie the game or go and win it. And then we, throw the bomb. When, if you're going to throw the bomb, it's probably better to throw it early than in that situation when you need to convert. But, and I know the coaches are like, oh, go win the game. And what we at Red Rain pointed out was, well, if you're going to, go and win the game, why didn't you try harder in regulation when you could have had 3 shots at the end zone that you squandered by not managing the clock properly? But Jacoby has been around long enough. He can go and study the Mahomes and the ones who are the best at it and make some charts as to what they do to get open and how they approach it. So that, this is an area of the game that needs to be improved, immediately and completely, because the whole concept, the whole time Drew Petzing's been OC, this has been a problem. It's not been coached up. On every aspect of it, it's not been good. And it's time for a change, but I think Jacoby could generate that change by doing the research himself and coming up with a plan with his boys to next time we're in this 2-minute situation, be it at the end of the first half or the second half, we're going to be better prepared. And we're going to have plays we already know, or ones I can just scream out like Rita, like Tom Brady used to do, or Omaha,
Peyton.
You got to, sometimes you can't afford to look around and call plays while that clock is ticking. So, and even the Fox announcers yesterday were so smart. They were like, the Cardinals are wasting time. They're wasting time. They said the clock's your worst enemy here. It absolutely is. That's what how you have to, look at it.
Which last week, same story. We were at this same point in the podcast talking about 2-minute drill. Why are you not spiking the ball? Why are you running a play? Could have had 3 shots at the end zone.
Correct.
Same situation.
That's what drives me crazy about this Cardinals coaching staff. From week to week, no change. You don't see okay, this week we really work this out to where if we're in this situation again, we'll know how to handle it better. If anything, they knew how to handle it worse. And that just drives you so bad with their passive approach that Todd Bowles is sitting on the game-winning pass breakup because he knows it's coming.
What does that say? What does that say?
Predictable.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I mean, the two worst throws of the game by Brissett were both over the middle of Wilson, who was properly covered. So, I mean,
and what's crazy is Gannon said they practiced that play for weeks, and they still couldn't execute it.
Oh, really? He said that?
Yeah.
Well, if they practiced it for weeks, of course, Bowles knew about it. I mean,
when the opposing coaching staff looks at your film week after week after week and they see the same plays, what does that say about the lack of creativity, lack of game awareness, lack of situational play calling by your offensive coordinator?
Perfectly said, because this is what the really good coaches do is they go back and look at their own stuff and go well, if I was studying this, how would I counter? And we could expect that next week. So we have to have a counter to the counter, right? That's how you got to do it. You can't just go oh, this is a good play for us, so we can just keep running, necessarily. So it's unfortunate. And
how'd you like to be a veteran like Calais Campbell playing for so many good squads and watch this team and watch this coaching staff's poor management of the clock, of the play calling, etc., and lose all these games? He's got to be disgusted. It's not lost on him. He knows what's going on.
I know, but why is he in the locker room going Gannon's a great coach?
Well, he almost has to.
You know?
He's not going to throw his coach under the bus.
With Darius saying he's the perfect coach.
Darius shouldn't open his mouth about anything.
Look at this. I'm very impressed with that.
Yeah, well, that's our Calais.
Yep. There's two old veterans who, play hard and they're leaders. Is this Jacoby's team?
Right. I don't know if it's anybody's team,
yeah,
but if it is anybody's,
that's the first thing that entered my mind.
Are they rallying around Jacoby? Are they embracing his leadership?
I think so. Yeah. Maybe the better gauge is that they're maybe playing not happier, but playing a little more freely with Jacoby probably than they were with Kyler.
Well, they're certainly passing the ball better.
Well, the receivers have to love him, especially Michael Wilson, especially Dortch. Those are two guys who were invisible when Kyler was under center.
Especially McBride in the end zone.
Well, yeah, that too.
Now he has 7 TDs. A TD a game with Brissett at quarterback. I mean, that in itself is, an indication that things are improving. But boy, oh boy, if you're a Kyler's fan, you just do not want to accept anything good about Jacoby Brissett. I found that out on Twitter, and it's the same. I posted this on Twitter about the stats. Kyle, can you bring that one back up? The comparative stats to how our quarterbacks are doing against their quarterbacks, passing yards wise.
Yep.
It's absolutely stunning to me. Regardless of the circumstance, in all 5 games of Kyler, he got outpassed by the opponent. In all of these 7 games by Brissett, he's outpassed all these really top quarterbacks. And I know there are some circumstances where, okay, late in the game, stuff, okay. But the reality is only 2 games were lopsided. And the reality is all these other games were close. But look at this. Every single time. Rattler, Young, Mac Jones, Darnold, Cam Ward. Look at Murray's. People back then thought 220 was a good game. Now Brissett comes in 320, 279, 261, 258, 452, 317, 301. He's averaging over 300 passing yards per game. And yet some fans are like, we're losing, so it doesn't matter. Like, all that doesn't matter. Well, to me, it matters a lot. After week 5, we were considered like the worst passing offense in the NFL and had the worst receivers who never got open, to suddenly exploding with these kind of numbers. And look at the TDs. Kyler had 6-3 with a passer rating of 88.6. Jacoby, 13.4, passer rating of 97.4, which ranks him currently for quarterbacks with over 300 snaps, 9th in the NFL. And he's got guys like Mahomes and Aaron Rodgers and guys like that behind him in terms of passer ratings. That's dang good. And then what people aren't considering either is that, when Kyler had his 5 games, the combined records of those teams are, right now are 4.440, whereas Jacoby's are 0.640. All these teams are good, man. I mean, these were teams that I don't think Kyler wanted to face their pass rushes. The Daniel Jones, the Colts, Jordan Love, the Packers. And these are all winning teams. And by the way, here's the other interesting thing. 4 of these 5 games, the Cardinals are favorites. Have the point spread on there, they're favorites in 4 of those 5 games. Guess how many of these games the Cardinals with Brissett have been favored? Try 0.
I was going to say 1, maybe the Panthers, but that was the only one I could think of.
No, Panthers was early.
Oh, wait, who am I thinking?
Let me rephrase myself.
I'm sorry. Jaguars is what I meant, not Panthers.
Okay. What's that?
Sorry, I meant Jaguars. Wrong cat.
Oh, Jaguars.
Yeah.
Well, they were coming in, 6-4?
Yeah,
that's what I said. That's the only one it could have been.
Whooping the Chargers.
The Chargers kicking their ass. So, understandably, the Cardinals, were not favored in any of these games. But they covered some spreads along the way, but that doesn't matter. But look at the whopping disparity. The opposing QBs, 1,333 yards. Kyler Murray in 5 games, 728. Opposing QBs, 1,000. And this is a pretty cool lineup of good quarterbacks. Jacoby overthrows by over 500 yards. I mean, there's some, if you're not impressed with this, then you're never going to be impressed.
You have to be. You have to be impressed, especially from a journeyman quarterback.
Right.
In my mind, Jacoby's biggest impediment is the complete predictability, lack of creativity from his OC.
Correct.
There are tells almost every game, and if I know, the opposing coaches know. They pass out a shotgun 70% of the time. Conversely, they always run the ball when lining up center. They run the ball 75% of the time.
Yep.
On second down, 82% of those plays are pass plays, right, with medium distances.
Right.
On third and short, with 1 to 3 yards to go, highly predictable play calling, running the ball about 80% of the time. Yesterday, the Buccaneers just waited, stacked the box, and prepared for a run in these situations. And the runs called, they're inside zone runs without misdirection, which makes it easier for the defense to make the play and make the tackle.
Yep.
In the red zone, 68% of the time he's throwing the ball. He's forcing the ball. So it allows the defense to focus on pass coverage. It's totally predictable game plan. Game after game after game, 2 minutes with 2 minutes left, it's the same play calling. Todd Bowles threw Petzing right under the bus. All we did was watch film, and there it was.
Yep. here's the other one, and it feeds right into what you were saying. Remember the fourth down play at midfield where the Cardinals ran a a quick toss sweep to the left? Well, Bowles said he knew with the formation that's the play they were going to call because they've been doing it in the past.
Yeah.
And then inexplicably, Trey McBride doesn't finish his block, and his man comes in and makes the tackle. Love Trey as a receiver, but the blocking aspects for him have not been good. The optics, the penalties. In this key situation, he didn't sustain his block. In fact, he just let him go. Hard to now. He toned himself a couple minutes later when he scored the touchdown, like Bam did on his mistake. But you'd expect more from Trey McBride at this point in his career when it comes to that. But nonetheless, how is it that Todd Bowles he studied the formations on close fourth down situations, and he knew by the formation, he knew it was going to be a quick toss sweep on a key. That's a huge situation there. So, and this is what speaks to inexperience. Like I said, the self-reflection thing is like, maybe we gone to the well too often with this play. Maybe we have to have a fake quick toss, counter or something, do something opposite of what they might expect, seeing as we've done this, put this enough on tape where people might be keying on it. And that's part of what an experienced coordinator will do. But I mean, I want to give Petzing credit for having enough of a passing system for Jacoby to put up these kind of numbers, and for doing a good enough job with the receivers. We now know they have the ability to get open, and that we are a threat. So I think, and one of the things that you said, Sam, that jumped out at me was that the propensity now to pass the ball in the red zone. Whereas in previous years, when you had James Conner, that was a different story. And I think that Drew Petzing's trying to make an adjustment that we don't quite have the physical running game with Conner that allowed us to, grind, and get him into the end zone. But they have been scoring with Bam the last couple of weeks. Not in this game, but they scored a touchdown off tackle left in the previous two games with Bam. So they are doing some things well there. But I think Petzing, he's got enough of a framework where the whole myth before about how his passing offense sucks has now been totally, erased. I mean, when you're averaging over 300 yards a game with your second string quarterback, and suddenly guys like Michael Wilson and Greg Dortch, and even Zay Jones, when he, before he got hurt, are, reborn. And
I give more credit to Jacoby than I do Petzing on this.
Okay. Jacoby is an orchestrator, which brings me to the question. Do you think that the Cardinals in the offseason, I know they made quite a push to get Jacoby in here. Of course, his salary is about top of the line for backups, which I thought was curious because he really struggled in New England last year. And some might have thought, maybe he's got age is catching up to him or whatever. But so to offer him that, 2-year, $16 million with $14 million guaranteed, do you think they gave him assurances that if Kyler struggles or is injured we're going to not only play you, we're going to give you the opportunity to try to win the job.
I kind of think it just came with the understanding that if you're paying a backup quarterback that kind of money, there's certainly a chance you're going to be going in at this point. I think that was kind of the Daniel Jones free agent signing, the Sam Darnold signing when he went to Minnesota, not to Seattle. I think that's kind of understood when you pay that top end money. I don't know if it was expressly outlined to him, but I think it was kind of understood that if you're paying this much money for a backup quarterback, you're not paying for them to sit the whole time.
Right. Yep. And that he's a viable option when you want to pay to have on your team.
Well, and he's Drew Petzing's guy. I mean, that was always the thing going back to Cleveland.
That's why I think there was a wink there. And the reason why I say this is if you've heard Jacoby talk about how grateful he is for this opportunity, he's no Colt McCoy like, oh, the minute Kyler's ready, he's back. I mean, he's the franchise quarterback. And yeah, I'm playing well right now, but I know my role. I'm in my lane. I stay in my lane. That's not Jacoby right this year. It's Jacoby, the minute he got his opportunity, he's been white on rice for this whole thing. I mean, you can tell this is a carpe diem moment for him in his career. He recognizes it, and I think he sees this as a platform for him to make a case that, like he says, I prepare to be the starter every game wherever I am. He wants to, like Geno Smith has, and others, like Marcus Mariota is making a case for himself. Like, these are guys that could start for you.
And Mariota's making more than Jacoby's making $8 million a year.
Yeah.
In fact, there are a lot of backups like Tyrod Taylor's making $6 million. Zach Wilson, who I don't know why anybody pay him $6 million, but that's what he's making. And Jarrett Stidham in Denver's making almost $6 million. So teams are recognizing if you want to get a good backup quarterback in a long season, you need to pay these guys. So I don't think it was extraordinary for the Cardinals to pay Jacoby that kind of money. I think that's almost market, especially for a backup with the experience that he has.
Right.
I think to the Zach Wilson point too, it's less so look at the quarterback and look at the team, right? You have a team that you're constantly worried you're going to have injuries to the quarterback position.
Sure.
Dolphins fans are probably having the same conversations as Cardinals fans about moving on from Tua, but the money's a little cost prohibitive. So I think that's the other part is like the situations where teams have to pay backups are often ones where the quarterback could either be out because of injury or could be out for performance reasons, like Anthony Richardson with the Colts. I mean, the Colts had every incentive in the world to start Anthony Richardson this season, and they went with Daniel Jones. And it's paid dividends for them kind of in that way, but they're paying for it. Daniel Jones is the highest paid backup in the NFL, or highest or lowest paid starter other than a rookie in the NFL. So that's what they were paying for.
Yeah, that was a prove it deal. Bring him in, see and then it's going to be interesting this offseason. I think the Vikings are going to make a push to try to bring Daniel Jones back. I think he'll be a hot commodity. I think there'll be a bidding war for his services. Providing, I mean, they're sort of leaking a little oil in Indianapolis right now. We'll have to see how that plays out. But, Jones is still a top 10 quarterback this year. If you look at his QBRs and his numbers, he's top 10 squarely. So he's been doing a really good job. A little bit shaky of late, but, he has a chance to recover. But I really believe there was something going on there with Petzing and Jacoby, like there were assurances. So I think Jacoby just wanted to know when he came here, would I ever have a chance to be a starter in Arizona? And I think clearly the indication from Petzing and Gannon and Monti was yes. I mean, let's open that window for you if it presents itself. If Kyler's playing great, you may not get a chance. But if he's not playing great or he's injured or whatever, we're going to go to you. And it's what you make of it when you get in there. And I'll tell you what, he's making a heck of a lot out of it thus far. It hasn't been perfect. The 2-minute drill has been a stickler for not winning these close games. They've got to straighten that out. But sometimes if the coaches don't know how to do it, you need your veteran players to do it, like Kurt Warner did for us. And Palmer had BA, but they worked together on working through stuff. But now I think Jacoby, he sees this opportunity. He sees the areas where they have to improve. And I'm sure he's going to go, dive, full steam into trying to correct it. Well, we got the Rams coming off. How did they lose to the Panthers?
Wow. That was a shocker.
Yeah. Woo.
That was a real shocker.
And I'll tell you this right now, I don't think we'd want to play the Panthers.
Not right now.
They're a team that, from week 2 on has been getting things, tight. We're a team that are just not quite getting over the hump. So big difference.
Aggressive owner.
Yeah.
Very aggressive owner.
Yep. And
it's pretty crazy thinking about the Bucs here, how the Bucs are now fighting for the division title with Dave Canales, who was Baker Mayfield's offensive coordinator. Meanwhile, Liam Cohen, Baker Mayfield's other offensive coordinator, has the Jaguars at 8-4, which give Todd Bowles all the credit in the world. I mean, people for years have been saying, oh, he's not a good coach and he's just, a stopgap until, he's made great hires and picked up great quarterbacks. It's been tremendous job what they've done.
He's got a great GM. He's got a really smart GM who used to work for the Cardinals, who was allowed to leave the building so they could retain Steve Keim. But I have to say, I was not very impressed with the Buccaneers yesterday. Their tackling was almost as poor as ours. And I was really surprised to see that from a Todd Bowles squad. And their record reflects it.
Yeah, their defense has been, revolving door lately. I mean, they are struggling on that side of the ball in ways that we're not accustomed to seeing. Mm-hmm. But it's also been some of their injuries to Jamal Dean. He came back. Hassan Reddick came back. Vita Vea was out a couple of games. I mean, so, but they're getting healthy now, and they're going to need to be because they're going to have to play big defense down the stretch. And we'll see. But I agree with you that was a defense that could be had. And I know Jacoby knows that, and I know the players know that. So, all right. So next, Kyle, I just want to draw added attention to the article we wrote on Red Rain Blog yesterday about the Cardinals injuries, adding insults to injuries. If you could just pull that up for a second. I'm not going to read all the way through it, but I'm really thankful this got, retweeted several times on Twitter yesterday. And it's garnering a good deal of attention. And as I was hoping it would. I don't typically post an article on Sunday, but I felt it was time to get this out there. If you just scroll down, look at these injuries. I mean, this is every team's inevitably going to get hit with injuries, but this is beyond the pale. I mean, this is just,
so just for reference, so Kyler Murray, I believe this means played 5 games this year. James Conner only played 3 games. So that means he's missed 9. Trey Benson has missed 8. Amari DeMercado's missed 4. Then you go to the wide receiver room. Marvin Harrison Jr. has missed 3 games. Zay Jones has missed 4 games, and he's done for the season. Simi Fehoko, he's missed 8 7 games so far this year. Tip Ryman, tight end, he's missed 8 games and he's done for the season.
Yeah.
Offensive line, Jonah Williams has missed 3 games. Will Hernandez missed 5 games. Christian Jones hasn't played all season. Hayden Connor hasn't played all season.
Right. Keep going.
Keep going. So just for that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 players on your offense. Almost enough to start an entire team.
Right. Whole right side of the line.
Yep. So now we get to the defense. Justin Jones hasn't played all season. Bilal Nichols has missed 10 games all season.
Well, he played yesterday, so, he missed 9 games.
Missed 9 games there.
Yeah.
LJ Collier, he missed 10 games. May not return this season.
Yeah.
Walter Nolan missed 8 games, and now he's obviously been back and playing pretty well.
Right.
Inside linebacker, Mac Wilson, senior, he's missed 4 games. He's on IR.
Yep.
On the linebackers, Baron Browning has missed 3 games. BJ Ojolari missed 9 games. Cornerback, Sean Murphy Bunting. I think that was in OTAs. I think he might have had a season-ending injury. Starling Thomas, season-ending ACL injury, never played. Right. Will Johnson's missed 6 games. Garrett Williams has missed 5 games. Max Melton's missed 3 games. At safety, Joey Blunt played only 1 game this year before he went out for a year. Dadrian Taylor Demerson has been out for 3 games. Keaton Crawford missed 5 games. And then on special teams, Blake Gillikin has missed 7 games or 6 games.
That was a big loss, too, was Gillikin.
Yes.
I mean, we missed another field goal yesterday. And we see on the sidelines, not happy with the hold. They even showed that, Hawk's hold on the missed field goal was he had the pinky wrapped around on the side of the ball where it shouldn't be. And, that's a huge part of being the punters now is you're the holder. And 2 games in a row, we've lost 2 games by 3 points in both games and missed a field goal in both games. Frustrating. And Chad Ryland's pretty reliable. So,
So if you add it all up, that's 28 players that have missed either 2 or more games this season. Yeah.
So this ties in to how the players are treated, how they're trained. Because, read these grades. Overall 32nd. Treatment of facilities, D+. This is as voted by the players. I started the article by saying the Cardinals players are hurting. And, the Cardinals are hurting. Just ask the players. Food cafeteria, no excuse. D, 30th. Nutrition dietitian, B, 27th. Locker room, F, 32nd. Training room, D minus, 31st. Training staff, C, 31st. They're even telling us we're not getting trained properly. Weight room, F, 31st. Strength coaches, C plus, 30. So your training staff and your strength coaches are 31st and 31st. It shows.
What's most disgusting about this is that it's been this way forever.
Right.
This isn't a one-off. This isn't an anomaly.
Right.
This isn't recent. This is forever. This is Bidwill.
Right.
This is forever.
Correct. Yep. Other potential contributing factors. We saw from the Bears, soft training camps. You may have heard on Friday how the Bears have been lauding Ben Johnson's highly physical approach to training camp. 2, known live practicing and fundamental tackling in a sport where it's so critical. 3, practices run at slow, half, and full speeds. Never understood that. D, bubble wrapping of players. E, drafting and signing a number of players with injury histories. And boy, have they repeated themselves in the NFL. for some of the draft picks. Some slippery field conditions at State Farm Stadium where they have, training camp and they have their games. Lack of transparency from Bidwell, the GM, the head coach about the nature of the injuries, which so often indicates to the players how BS the front office is. They're just lying to themselves, and the players must be rolling their eyes going like, well, we know the real truth.
Well, that's especially true with Kyler. 1 minute it's a foot sprain. Next minute it's a Liz Frank. Now it's back to being a mid-foot sprain, mild foot sprain. What is it? If it's a Liz Frank, why didn't he have surgery? If it's a mild foot sprain, we all know why he's not playing is because they've moved off him, or he's moved off them.
Right. I indicated that earlier on when I talked about Murray, that what is this really? And then Gannon was asked the question, Kyler can come off the IR this week. What do you think? And Gannon said, I don't know.
No, that's probably the most honest answer he's given all season. Right. I don't know.
Right.
Because it seems like the Cardinals are doing what Daniel Jones with the Giants did and what Russell Wilson with the Broncos, where they don't want him to get hurt such that they have to pay the guarantees on his contract because 100%. He's going to.
Right.
And so they'd rather just sit him down, and then Kyler agreed to go on IR, or at least him and his representation probably, because he was almost going to play the game before he went on IR.
Right. So these are parts of my conclusion were how I responded to Ben Albright, who claims, let's get to his tweet, Benjamin Albright, who has been maintaining all along he knows that Gannon has been guaranteed to come back with the caveat that it's a playoff mandate and that he gets a new quarterback.
Here we've got it.
So
right here.
Fan base needs to get prepared. He's coming back with a playoff mandate and a new quarterback. Sam, we'll let you have first digs.
Well, he probably is coming back. He probably is coming back, and he's coming back for two reasons. One, he and Monti Ossenfort are going to walk in Bidwell's office and going to show him all the injuries, and that's going to be his excuse. And then the most important reason he's going to be back is money. He's not going to fire him. That means Bidwell will be paying for 3 coaches. He owes Keim and Cliff about $18 million. And the only way I'm rooting for the LA Rams to just wipe us out, both games. Another division wipeout by an opponent. And maybe that'll be enough where it'll tie Bidwell's hands and he won't be able to say, I'm giving this guy another chance. It'll be so ugly, so bad. I would even, that's the only thing, those are the only reasons Jonathan Gannon will be back. He shouldn't be back. He should be fired. The staff should be fired. Monti should be held accountable for the coaching staff that Gannon was allowed to put up. And just before Kyle jumps in, I want everybody to remember this. On February 20th, 23, when Gannon was hired, he said, I'm going to have some guys with major experience on this staff because I value that. You can't believe a word this guy says. And frankly, in my book, that just makes him a lying idiot.
Yeah. He also said we're going to play smart.
Well, he probably believed that, but he sure as hell didn't believe he was going to hire an experienced coach.
Right. And he said, don't get it twisted. We're going to win games.
He's twisted.
I mean, I still haven't figured out what he really does. He obviously can't stop the bleeding on defense. He doesn't have a plan.
None.
It's just rolling out the same thing and hoping for a different result.
The culture guy, the culture changer, the guy who is going to lift this defense up and this team up, can't even train his kids how to tackle.
I mean, Kyle, what's your reaction to Benjamin Albright?
So to echo part of what Sam said just a minute ago with the the playoff mandate part, playoff mandate should have been this year, right? In the time since Jonathan Gannon got hired, the Jacksonville Jaguars, I'd say arguably one of the few organizations I think might be worse ran than the Cardinals. The Jacksonville Jaguars have gone from winning a playoff game against the Chargers to falling apart, to signing Mac Jones, to letting Mac Jones leave the building, to then firing a coach, keeping a general manager, firing said general manager because nobody wanted the job, hiring a coach, letting the coach pick the general manager, and they're now 8-4. All of that in the time since Jonathan Gannon has been hired. In the modern NFL, you don't need more than 3 years. In 3 years, you know if something is going to work or not. So the mandate probably should have been this year, not to next year. Now, I understand the argument you could make of they're running fourth string running backs, second string quarterbacks, backup tight ends, backup offensive linemen. I get that argument. I don't know if it holds water to getting another year. And I think the reason I look at that is if you were to keep Jonathan Gannon, we don't know all the coaches who are going to get fired this year. Maybe Mike McDaniel makes it another year in Miami too. But if you keep Jonathan Gannon, come July and August, all of these lists are going to say first coach to get fired, Jonathan Gannon, Jonathan Gannon, Jonathan Gannon. He's going to be on the hot seat from day one, which will kind of tell you probably should have just made the move last year and hit a clean slate with a new quarterback. If you want to keep Monti and let him pick a quarterback, I think that's fair. I don't know if you could go either way on that. As long as Monti has the job security to pick the quarterback and not immediately get fired, I think it's fair. It's fair to fire him. It's fair to not, kind of at this point. But if you're picking a new quarterback, you should probably start with a new coaching staff, and you should probably give as clean of a slate as you can, because we've seen these turnarounds can be pretty quick. If you get the right quarterback and you get the right play caller, you can turn things around pretty quickly. You mentioned the Bears. I just listed the Jaguars have gone from playoff team to terrible to playoff team, all in Jonathan Gannon's tenure. So Jaden Daniels last year with the Commanders, you give him Cliff Kingsbury, and year one, you're in the NFC Championship game. So these things don't take as long as the Cardinals are making them out to be. So I just think, at least coaching wise, you kind of need a clean slate. Also, to your point about the tackling too, someone would make the point, well, that's on the defensive coordinator. They're working every day one-on-one with the players. These are the position coaches. But to your guys' point, you don't have a lot of veteran experience in your position coaches. B, you're going pretty cheap in a lot of cases with your position coaches. And I know this happened a couple games ago, but I haven't looked at exactly how many games it is now. But I believe Nick Rallis now has more games as a defensive play caller than Jonathan Gannon. I believe that's a real stat.
Oh, yeah.
That officially happened a couple weeks ago. I don't know the exact numbers, but if you count playoff games, Super Bowls, everything, Nick Rallis has called more games as a defensive coordinator than Jonathan Gannon in his career.
Good point.
So what's the impact of keeping Gannon as head coach?
Exactly.
Basically, no, he's not going to replace an OC because he's got 1 year. He's got a 1 year prove it deal. No good OC is going to come here and work for a year and then get fired along with the head coach and the GM. So there aren't going to be any changes. You're not going to, and certainly I don't think Gannon's going to let Rouse leave the building. So there's not going to be any changes. So, I mean, we have to wait another year for this whole staff to get fired based on money. That's probably going to be the case. I don't think Albright is off on his prediction, unfortunately.
I will say the one point that you could make in their favor is that we're not going to pick one of the top 3 quarterbacks. Either we're not going to be bad enough to pick one of the top 3 quarterbacks, or we're going to pick another position, whether it's an offensive lineman, something on the defense. If they aren't going to pick a quarterback in the first round, they will probably have, and they're going to move on from Kyler, we assume. They're probably going to have Jacoby and either a second or third round rookie, most likely in the quarterback room. At which point you could make the argument, if you're them, hey, we're going to try it with Jacoby, a fully healthy team. If it goes bad, we can go to the rookie at some point.
Right.
With respect to personnel, player personnel, I don't give a damn what this team does in the offseason. If they don't improve their offensive line substantially with draft picks and money, this staff will be fired at the end of next year, and we're going to watch another miserable season. This offensive line, first and foremost, has to get fixed. Finally has to get fixed. And that may mean getting rid of your offensive line coach, who I don't see any reason to keep that guy. At least bring in somebody with some experience to give him some ideas, because this offensive line is disgusting. Jonah Williams free agent signing, absolute 100% miss by this front office. Unfortunately. 100% miss.
And
none of these kids have developed. None of them.
They rushed Will back too soon.
Yes.
You know, I feel bad for him.
I do too, but he had to come back because Adams has not improved, and none of the guards. The interior line is terrible.
Adams is playing well now.
He's playing better. He's definitely playing better.
He is. He had the highest
grades are up.
Line grade of the whole unit, other than Paris last game, and we'll see what his grade is today. But I think he's got a solid future as a.
I hope so.
I think he does. We need a right tackle, and we need to consider left guard. Although Evan Brown's holding up pretty well.
Yes, he is.
You know, it's not an immediate urgency if you still have Brown on the team, but definitely right tackle is a huge position. But here's 2 things about Gannon that I think have doomed him from the start. Other than being hired illegally and totally doing a bad turn to his team, the Eagles, during Super Bowl weeks, which right there and then told me all I needed to know about the guy. I'm sorry. I mean, like Parcells said, when a player shows you who he is, believe him. Or a coach, believe him. If he's willing to do that at the highest of stakes, you just know what extent he's going to go to try to cheat, lie, swindle, do whatever he does. But it's just, there's no integrity in what he did. And there's no integrity in what Monti did. And then where they really blew it, and I said this at the time, Kyle will, and Sam was with me all the way, on this. You don't hire the most inexperienced coaching staff to tank games. I mean, it's a lose-lose. You don't have any gravitas with the players when you're saying week after week, Gannon's showing up after losing the game. We're good. Yeah, everything's great. We tried really hard. That's all we. Bullshit. I mean, did D'Amico Ryans come into Houston with that, worn down roster and go, yeah, we're just going to take us a couple years to. No, he came in and tried to teach him how to win. Now, Not later. Not a day later. Win now. We're going for it. And boy, oh boy, did that work. And look at where Houston is to where Arizona is today. How about Liam Cohen? Oh, this is not, don't mention rebuild to me. We're coming in. We want to win now. We want to teach the players how to win. I remember Bruce Arians. No risk it, no brisket. He had to teach the Cardinals again how to win. And he did it from day one. And it involves risk-taking. No risk it, no biscuit is a legit mantra in this league. You can't be the youngest, most inexperienced coaching staff and the most conservative and think you have even a prayer of winning in the NFC West. So the whole thing was flawed from the start. And oh, the irony. Now when you need to win games, when you conveniently you were losing before, you're now like, oh, shit. Why? You condition your players how not to finish. And then it was okay. This team can't finish because the coaching staff doesn't have it in them to coach them to finish. And here's the other reason. Kyle, if you'll post these tackling grades, it is talking about disgusting. I mean, disgusting. Everyone's saying, what a great culture. Jonathan Gannon's a great coach. He's the perfect coach, Darius Robinson. We let him down. He does everything right for us. He gives us the details, and we're letting him down. I'm sorry, Darius. You need to be coached by a different NFL head coach because it's not like this in other places. The details include tackling. The details include close, pesky, sticky coverage late in games where you got to make a play. It includes a consistent pass rush. Look at this. Kyle, read them down.
These are the tackling grades, not including Tampa. Baron Browning, 26.1. Zaven Collins, 57.8. B.J. Ojolari, 36.5. Darius Robinson, 45.2. Dante Stills, 36.0. These are very low, by the way. Like lower than 50 is not good. Dalvin Tomlinson.
Lower than 60 is not good.
Yeah, lower than 60 is below average, too.
Below average,
yeah. 60 is kind of about average. Dalvin Tomlinson, 31.4. PJ Musafer, 64.7. Calais Campbell, 29. Josh Sweat, 71.8. Jordan Birch, 65.2. Mac Wilson, 41.9. Cody Simon, 45.1. So far we've got 3 players above 60.
Look at your linebackers in the poor.
And the front 7.
Yeah. Middle linebacker and weak inside linebacker are the most important positions too for tackling because they're making the most tackles.
Well, you hope, but they're not.
Yeah, I mean, they're involved in the most plays, I guess is the better way to phrase it. Cornerback Will Johnson, 62.5. Keitrell Clark, 39.1. Jalen Thompson, 88.3. Elite.
That's coming down after yesterday, unfortunately.
Yeah, which is crazy that the one play we went through, it was him. Buda Baker, 65. Denzel Burke, 42.5. Max Melton, 32.8. Garrett Williams, 28.9. The Rabbit, 76.5. And Katown Crawford, 77.1. It's covered a little bit here, but team tackling grade, 31.4, 31st in the NFL.
What a culture change by a defensive coach.
Whoa. I mean, you can't look at this and go, oh, yeah, he deserves to come back. He's a defensive-minded head coach who wants nothing to do with defense, if you've noticed. He doesn't call it. He said his young protege is a better defensive coordinator than he is. And this is proof in the pudding that he deserves to be nowhere near the building as a head coach for the Arizona Cardinals. I mean, imagine on the flip side if these were the blocking grades for Cliff Kingsbury's offense. They would have run him out of town after 2 years. But no, Gannon and Monti are so great. But
funny you should say that. Since we've been recording, I'm just going to share this real quick. This is from Kyle Odegaard. Year 3 results from recent Cardinals head coaches. Wisenhunt, 10-6 divisional round appearance. Bruce Arians, 13-3 NFC Championship game. Kingsbury, 11-6, started 7-0, 8-1 NFC wildcard appearance. Jonathan Gannon, 3-9, eliminated from playoffs in November.
No one could ever say that Jonathan Gannon and that staff deserves to be retained. And I don't think Albright is saying they deserve to be retained.
Right.
I think what everybody's saying and what everybody's thinking is cheap Mike Bidwell is going to keep him around because he doesn't want to pay 3 coaches. That's it. That's the bottom line.
Yeah, but here's the one fly in that ointment. Aren't all the assistant coaches' contracts up after this year? So you got to re-sign them. I mean, Gannon's got 2 more years. You got to re-sign them to deals this offseason. So it's very convenient in that standpoint of now you can save all that money by not bringing them back. Now you're just paying the head coach.
They're not paying them any money. They're not paying those position coaches a nickel. They're not paying Israel Wolford anything but minimum wage based on his experience and the coaching ability.
Yes, but no, because those salaries are slotted.
Right.
You get the NFL standard, assistant coach salary when you're a position coach.
But that's right. But they're slotted. That's a minimum. They're all at the slotted minimum. None of them are being paid well. None of them are being paid top market like other teams who want to bring in an experienced, successful position coach are paying. These guys are making slotted minimums. And that's what they're stuck with, because if Jonathan Gannon gets 1 more year, anybody with the NFL future as an OC, DC, offensive line coach, etc., they're not coming here for a year expecting this guy is going to get fired at the end of next season.
Right.
You go where there's a job where there's continuity. You're not going to move your family to Arizona for maybe a year. You're not going to do it. And you're certainly not going to work for a guy who fires coaches left and right unless it costs him too much money.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a quandary. It's the other thing that is a factor here is we're going to see it again on Sunday. We're in our own building. We're going to have to use a silent count.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, it's a factor here that our State Farm Stadium is now a barn for, a barn burner place for opposing fans. Now, it has been for a while, but not to this extent where we're getting so overrun. And Bidwell's little quirks of the casitas and, Casa Roja and all this, it's just laughable. And then Dan Viennes of the Seahawks Forever podcast, who I think the world of, he told me that, last time he was at the stadium, which was 2 years ago, he couldn't believe the amount of fans that were actually in back rooms, like conference areas that had TVs, but they're all drinking like fish, getting, like tailgating at the game inside the stadium, but not in the stands. I mean, if he's going to come to grips with his product, this is failing left and right. Yeah, he gets the same amount of money. But here's the other thing, and you might have noticed this, Sam. Someone posted it, I think, on Red Rain, with some of our great members here, that they're posting now, I'm not renewing my tickets. Not now, when on game day they're half price. So for the first time really in Bidwell's tenure, he's got an attendance problem deluxe. And, so, I mean, if the import of How many people are going to get really excited that Jonathan Gannon's coming back? How's that going to move the needle? When people in Chicago are elated, they got Ben Johnson. When people down in Jacksonville are elated, they got Liam Cohen. If Michael Bidwell wants to get serious, he's going to do exactly what you want him to do. Is get a director of football operations, or maybe combo GM, director of football operations, and say, we're all in with you. Fix us the product. I'll write the checks and get out of the way. Because that's the only way. And, when giving someone that power, he could get Belichick in here. Not that I want that necessarily. But when you give power to a GM, they'll take it. If you give a GM a quid pro quo, which I think was pretty clear with Monti, yeah, we'll give you the job. Kyler's going to be the quarterback. And, I'll help you hire a staff and everything. However, I'll try to give you as much money as we can. We're a little cash poor right now, so bear with us. Might not be a bad idea to kind of do a rebuild and openly do that for a year or two. Mistake. It can't be like that. The quid pro quos of the past have got to go because they never work. They're like poison pills. They never, ever work. And he's got to have a reckoning when it comes to that. That's my parting shot. Let's hear your guys. Sam, what do you got finally on your mind today?
Well, everything that's going to happen in the offseason is all going to be about money. You've got Kyler's dead cap money.
Yeah.
You've got money that, $18 million owed to previous coaches. I don't see Bidwell making the move. Like I said, if the Rams absolutely come in here and humiliate this team, right. And I mean, humiliation where the Rams sit most of their players at the last game of the year getting ready for the playoffs and they still whoop us. I don't know how Bidwell. It doesn't matter. Bidwell's going to keep these guys, and we're going to have to deal with this for another year. And unfortunately, we're going to have to deal with Mike Bidwell making decisions in the future. That's it. That's it.
Well, it may be good that the Rams lost yesterday, because that may make their last game all the more relevant in terms of seeding and going for the division.
Right. Well, then
Seahawks are still up there, and the Niners keep winning. They're 8-4. So they're
the division is great. The division is great, and we are not.
We are not. We are bottom dwellers and sinking fast. So, Kyle, what's your parting shot today, Little Rock?
All right. A couple of notes based on things we just covered as well. I'm just going to put this up here real quick. I just grabbed a random CBS Sports prospect ranking because right now the Cardinals have the 8th pick in the draft. You're not going to get an elite quarterback with the 8th pick in the draft. So,
I think it's nice, but go ahead.
Yeah. And the idea is elite cornerback, offensive tackle. There's an interior offensive lineman down here. Yeah, from Penn State. You can get talented players even if it's not the quarterback position. Maybe that's the argument in favor of Gannon sticking around. The second point was something Walter said that I thought was really eloquent, which was teaching from day one that this is about winning. And from day one, their point was they didn't believe in the roster that Steve Keim had assembled. Right. From day one, they were going to turn over the roster. And I remember saying this when we were doing Red Reigns, is when a new GM comes in, within 3 years, they're going to turn over 75% of the roster. They're going to want to bring in their own players, bring in their own draft picks. And if you go back to the 2023 Cardinals,
right?
I just pulled up their roster right here.
Right.
If you look back at that team that first started, it's got Kyler Murray, who was out. So throw Josh Dobbs in there if you want. Josh Dobbs, Toon, who was a draft pick from Monti. Inherited Carter, inherited James Conner, DeMercado rookie, inherited Dortch, who's still around, all these receivers are either gone or Wilson, who was a Monti pick. Tight end, inherited McBride, everyone else a Monti guy. Offensive line, still got Kelvin Beachum. Froholt was signed by Monti. Will Hernandez, everyone else gone or a Monti guy at this point. Defensive line, everyone on this list is gone except for no, everyone on this list is gone. So they brought in all their own guys. LJ Collier's still technically there on the IR, but linebackers, you still got Zaven. Everybody else is gone. And
Right.
BJ Ojolari, who is obviously a Monti pick. Owen Popo, Monti pick. Cam Thomas gone. Tariq Smith gone. Ezekiel Turner, Dimikije, Gardeck. All these guys are gone at this point. Defensive backs, you've still got Buddha. You've still got Jalen Thompson. Pretty much everybody else is either, and Joey Blunt also was signed by Monti, but everybody else is a Monti guy at this point. They turned over 75% of the roster. And the fact that they are still in the same place as the year that Cliff got fired, which is 3 wins on their way to a top 5 pick, when it's all your guys now,
correct,
is kind of a testament that you can see the writing on the wall before it happens.
Right.
So you made the point that from day one, they should have been teaching these things when they didn't believe that roster was going to be there. And they were kind of right. I mean, they turned out, other than the veterans and a couple, Trey McBride was Steve Keim's kind of last gift. Other than that, they turned over the entire roster. And now you've got your guys, and it doesn't seem to be any different than the fall at the end that got Cliff Kingsbury fired, despite the fact that they were paying Cliff Kingsbury all the money in the world.
And their guys are regressing.
Yeah.
And we're not developing them at the kind of rate that the Rams do. It's not even close.
If you're going through one of these,
they draft, plug, develop. No questions. They're just doing it. No questions. It's not a yo-yo, to and fro. It's we drafted you because we believe in you, and we're going to develop you as coaches. With us, we don't even know. I mean, it took 3.5 years to realize that Michael Wilson is pretty dang good. You might want to throw him the ball. 3.5 years to do that. I mean, Garrett Williams was looking like a really promising player. Right now, he's really struggling.
Terrible
in that system. They drafted a whole bunch of zone corners, and they're getting crushed in zones. And usually with zone corners, they're guys that tackle. Only our guys don't.
Right.
They're brutal. They're bad. There's no want to. Tackling is all about want to and technique. And they know they can get away with it, obviously. That their coaches aren't going to hold them accountable. Because game after game, it's the same old shit when it comes to that. So, you got to get these players. I wrote a tweet yesterday with my friend Bill on Twitter that, I think we could be the Bears of 2026 if we change the GM and we change the head coach. Just as, I don't trust Monti at all. I'm sorry. You can't be making these kind of just boneheaded mistakes and get away with it. It's just you accepted the quid pro quo. It blew up in your face. Now you got to go somewhere else and rebuild your resume because this isn't working here. And I know that sounds harsh, and I think he's a good man, other than cheating. Which it still bothers me as an organization that lacks integrity. To start off your new GM regime doing that was really, really unfortunate and inauspicious. So that bothers me. I care about organizational integrity. I know Sam does. I know Kyle does too. There's, at some point, this Cardinals organization has to have a reckoning of how they've got to do things by the book and do them properly and get in favor of the football gods and ahead of it instead of always behind it. So, but here's the thing. If you don't develop your talent, Now you got this talent, you're not developing it. How do you deserve getting your job back? You just don't. Especially when they won't tackle for you. You know, he said he wanted killers. That was his big speech. We all analyzed it. I thought it was awkward. A lot of people told me to shut the fuck up. I thought it was really awkward. Do you have a fire in the belly? That whole thing. I was just like, this guy's not going to motivate, man. He's just not. It's just there's no gravitas in that. And then getting walked all over as coaches. It's just really hard to watch. You know, in year 3. So yeah, that incites me even more, but just to think of it that way. And I hate to, you know, I was hopeful as everybody. I was hoping things would change, but they haven't, and it's gotten worse. And now we're just rolling it back because of money. I mean, you know, I think Sam's probably right. I think there's more to this. Why Gannon has said all along, I am the dream job. He probably knows the assurances that he's been given. And I think there's something more than a football bond between Ossenfort, Gannon, and Bidwell. I think there's an alliance there, either politically or sort of intuitively as brothers, you know, wanting to work together.
Well, isn't it kind of the same thing with Steve Keim, where Keim lasted so long in the job because of the personal relationship stuff?
Right. And, that's a really good point. Let me just jump on that and I'll finish with Sam. And what the point is with that was with Steve Keim was Steve Keim played Bidwell like a drum.
Yes.
Because what he would do is say, hey, hiring Cliff Kingsbury is a mistake. I can't endorse this. But I'm going to be your GM, and I'll support it as best I can. I'll even say I want Kyler Murray for you when I don't. I'll even, you know, I'll lie to a certain extent. But here's the thing, and like with Steve Wilkes, how they set him up to fail. Wilkes was never Keim's guy, ever. And he let Bidwell know it. And he was upset with Bidwell that he hired. Keim wanted James Betcher, BA's choice. He wanted to follow whatever BA wanted, all right? And Keim was upset with how the whole Arians thing was handled down the stretch. Keim would have never fired Arians. And let's get this straight. Arians was let go. It wasn't a retirement. We know that, how he jumped back in with the Bucs. It was talk about ultimatum. It's like what we're hearing now. In that last year with BA, because of the health problems, this and that, there was another mandate. Like, you either win this year and get back on track, or if it's another down year, because of your health and because of other things, we think you're kind of losing this football team, you're gone. And the way BA reacted to everything, you could tell he was a man who was put up against a wall. And he paid the price. But in retrospect, he was the best coach we've had. And if anyone could have turned it back around, heck, he might have even gotten Brady to Arizona when the opportunity presented itself. But they let him go. And then Steve Keim was bullshit about that. He was bullshit. But then when it backfires, Bidwell has to look at Steve Keim and say, yeah, you were right. I should have listened to you. So I can't fire you for being right. And this is how it keeps perpetuating itself, right? I mean, you know, here's it is with Gannon and Ossenfort. Yeah, I threw Kyler at you. It didn't work. I owe it to you to let you do it, roll it back with another quarterback. And that's how Bidwell, you know, squeezes himself into a corner, don't you think? See?
I think Keim did a masterful job of bringing Bidwell into every football decision. So when those poor decisions proved to be poor and effective, Keim could look at Bidwell and said, well, you made that decision with me. So,
Exactly.
you know, he worked Bidwell perfectly.
Yeah.
You know, Kyle said it best. He showed the graphic where, with the exception of the quarterback, with the exception of Kyler, these are all Gannon's and Monti's players.
Right.
They've all regressed. So there it is. There's your coaching decision. But again, like everything else, it's just going to come down to dollars. It's just going to come down to Bidwell dollars. And if he does hire a president of football operations, like I said last week, that person is going to be saddled with Bidwell's lack of financial ability to guarantee contracts, and nothing changes.
Oh.
Money controls everything this franchise has ever done, ever considered doing, and we've seen the results. It's all about money. This guy makes the least at 51, whatever it is he makes a year. He's the poorest guy in the NFL with respect to cash flow. His entire fortune is tied to the value of the franchise. He doesn't have the money to compete. So how are you going to attract talent, top tier talent, with that kind of financial limitations? And that's why we got Monti Ossenfort, and that's why we have minimum slotted position coaches. And I don't see any way out of this. I just don't see any way out of this long term, because the same poor owner in terms of financial ability and football acumen is calling the shots.
Well, on that happy note.
Yeah. And we got the Rams off the loss.
Oh, yeah. Oh, wow. Okay.
Let's see what we all think about Jonathan Gannon and his coaching staff after next Sunday.
Okay. Absolutely. And if Jacoby Brissett has anything to say with this, he's going to keep on charging.
Yes, he will.
You know, and I think he and Calais Campbell are the two players who can save the coaches' jobs if they rally their sides of the ball and gets them turned around somewhat to where you think, wow, they're showing progress. Can't say that now. And of all the players we just mentioned who, you know, like you said, are regressing, the only ones you can really point to who aren't are Michael Wilson. I mean, the ones that they've brought in for draft picks. Michael Wilson, Paris Johnson Jr. You can't know about Nolan and Johnson yet because they're so hurt too often, right?
Yep.
Garrett Williams, no. Max Melton, no. These are guys you paid premium draft picks for. Tip Ryman's out. Trey Benson's out. He got reactivated for the 21 window and looks like he can't answer the bell. I mean, you go down the list. We will at some point. It's just not. We haven't had one Pro Bowler. The only one who's close enough this year could be Paris. Only he's ranked 12th of tackles in the NFL right now. And 7 guys in the NFC, including 2 guys in his own division, are ahead of him. So I don't think he's getting a Pro Bowl bid unless. So and then you look at the Rams. They have Pro Bowlers galore of the guys that they've developed. This is your competition. You better embrace it, or it's just going to continue to fester. So, but anyway, guys, really good show. We covered a lot of ground again. I know we're frustrated. I'm very frustrated, but this is cathartic. We have to get it out. And you too, fans. Let's hear what you got in the comments, questions, comments, reactions. You know, let it out. It's good to do it. You know, What do you see as a way out? This is a constant chore of a Cardinals fan. You're in this maze where you feel like you're turning everywhere. You're stuck. How are you going to get out of this maze and solve this situation? We want to hear from you at Red Rain Blog. We want to hear from you right here on YouTube. We want to hear from you on Spotify. We want to hear from you on Apple. Keep doing your thing. Let's rise up together, and let's see if we can come up with plans that we can present as viable solutions to what the Cardinals need to do to become competent again, become winners again. I say again because it's so fleeting, but kudos to Kyle Odegaard. That was a very revealing third year set of stats and what's should be expected. So have a great week. Hope all your you get your Christmas stuff done, holiday stuff, and looking forward to the holidays. The Cardinals won't be they're out of contention on the 1st of December. Just so agonizing. But hey, we got to keep watching and hoping and learning and suggesting. And so that someday the red rain of NFC Championship confetti and the Super Bowl confetti showers down on you. If you can picture it, into the Red Sea, that if there's a Red Sea again, red rain